Summer bass fishing can get really hard really fast. So what is really happening with those bass, and what are some tips that we can use to get back on that better quality of fish? Number one, the bass really get schooled up in year class or fish that are about that same size. So if you've been out there in the water and you're catching 12-inch fish, 12-inch fish, 12-inch fish, 12-inch fish, you're going to have to move on and find another school of bass. Most likely, I've just seen huge schools of fish all the same size. So that's the first thing. If you're catching small fish, odds are that's the majority of what is in that group, so you're going to have to move on and find another group. Number two is really focus on that bluegill spawn all summer. This is something that most bass anglers do in the spring, right? When those bluegills get up on the beds, panfish are on the beds, the bass are right there. Well, being that panfish are way down on the food chain, like rabbits, they have to keep reproducing. On my home lake here in northern Illinois, they have about 3 very distinct spawns. So keep looking for those panfish beds, those bluegill beds, and they tend, at least to what I have seen, those bluegill beds tend to get a little bit deeper as the summer goes on. Early in the spring, up shallow, they want to get in that warmer water. As those water temperatures heat up, you're going to start finding them a little bit deeper, but that is a great way every month to get on some bigger bass. Number 3, if you are absolutely stuck, think about where was that spawning area, and then look for the first major structure change from that point. A large percentage of a bass population will not travel too terribly far from where they spawned. So if you're in a bigger reservoir, that could be from the back of a creek arm up towards the main point, and be searching that migration route in between. If you're in a small body of water, like a pond, it's just going to be get to the deeper side of that pond, the deeper side of that borrow pit, and you're going to put yourself in a high percentage area. Next is to keep in mind, as the summer moves on, a large percentage of the bass population is going to start to really key in on baitfish, okay? And in my experience, that's going to be larger type panfish, nice big schools of shad. It seems that the smaller bass are going to really get on those minnows and stuff, but as that summer wears on, as that water heats up, you will see bass chasing baitfish all day long. So really keep that in mind as far as your lure size, and then your presentation. These are going to be more of your horizontal presentations to try to find where those fish are, and they will start to roam all over the place. They'll be at one end of a creek channel, at one moment, and then 45 minutes later they followed that bait fish way to the other side. So they are really, really moving around, but they're focused, they're keyed in on the bait. Next, in the summertime, whenever you can find wind or current, game changer, period. It really, really helps. And last, this is one that we often forget. Distance in the summertime is so critically important. And by distance, I mean the distance between us and where we are trying to fish. In the springtime, often we can get up there pretty tight to our targets, pretty tight to the bass. But as they get more used to lures, as there's more boat traffic out there, as that water warms up, a lot of times the water gets really clear. We just need to make sure there's some distance for us. If you're fishing a really clear water lake, and let's say you can see down there 25 feet, 30 feet, try to be at least twice that distance when you're presenting your lures. Getting farther away from the bass is going to make a big difference, especially when it comes to a larger fish, a better quality of fish. And we know in the summertime that things can get crazy on the lakes with boat traffic. And if you want to watch a video about what can really create some arm-ripping strikes and some things to look for, how boat traffic can help us, go ahead and check this one out right here. And make sure that you go out and encourage someone today. You never know how you might just change their life. For the Bass Fishing Life, I'm your host, Steve Rogers.